Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we're gonna talk a little bit about the playing game, some of the teams, some of the potential matchups. In this video, we're gonna focus a little bit more on the West, well, only on the West. I feel like on the East, there's not really any exciting matchups. Everything's kind of like what it is.
Yeah, it feels like in the East, the top 8 teams that are gonna make it, you already kind of know. But in the West, I actually have no idea.
Yeah, thanks.
We're gonna be focusing on 6 teams because this race goes all the way up to the 5th seed. Actually.
Yeah, from the 5th to the 10th seed, which is pretty
it's
good.
crazy as hell. We got the Suns, the Pelicans, the Mavericks, the Kings, the Lakers, and the Warriors.
When we talk about these teams, we're also gonna mention the strength of schedule. One thing that I do gotta mention though is, yes, some strength of schedules are harder than others, but they're very close. And I think sometimes people get carried away by being like, oh, he has the toughest strength of schedule and he has the easiest. It's very close. At the end of the day, this is the NBA, guys. Every team is talented. Every team can win any day. And at the end of the day, they all play the same teams.
Yeah, like real quick, for example, the Lakers don't have the best record, but everybody knows that's a tough team to beat.
Yeah.
Like, they could beat anybody.
Exactly.
I'm going to start out by talking about the Warriors because they're the 10th seed at the moment. And the thing about the Warriors is that they have the easiest strength of schedule left. They're ranked all the way down at 24th, which is crazy. If you would have asked me earlier in the year, I would have told you more confidently, yeah, the Warriors might just miss the playoffs because of how bad they were playing. But recently, they've been winning a lot of games. They seem to be hitting the groove in the perfect moment. And just with them, they always seem to get lucky. They always seem to have the players in the other team setting out against them.
Yeah.
So I will not be surprised if they go all the way up to even the 6th seed.
I think with the Warriors, that's just like, honestly, I define their entire run as lucky. I feel like they've been getting super lucky, especially recently. You know, we've seen a bunch of players. For example, LeBron missed a game. KCP missing games. We've seen a bunch of that recently. But I do got to give them a lot of credit. They have been playing a lot better. Klay Thompson has accepted the role off the bench. You know, he's been up and down, which has kind of been his story recently. But I think more often than not, he's been coming out pretty solid. Chris Paul came back, and I know he's going to fix some of their issues. He's going to make them even better. Obviously, Chris Paul, he's not the player that he once was, but he's still Chris Paul. And Draymond's been great all season. Got to give him a lot of credit. But yeah, I think this team, man, they're so scary to me because I just know that something's going to go their way. I just know that something always seems to go their way, and that's why I can't count them out, and that's why I'm always so scared of them.
Even with all of that being said, they do have a big hill to climb. They are the team with the worst record right now. Them and the Lakers are right there. So there's still a chance that they might go like about 500 the rest of the year and end up losing the play-in. Which is the main reason, like Ale was saying, that we think that they might go up is just because the Warriors should be doing that.
Yeah.
But moving on to the next team is the Lakers, who's got a humongous win over the Clippers yesterday. I'm gonna try not to talk about it too much, cause man, that win, it was super important. It damn near saved their season. Shout out to LeBron James for that amazing game. And the Lakers, the problem with them is that the Warriors, they had the 24th, they had the 7th toughest schedule left, and you know when they have 2 older superstars, especially in LeBron James, so you don't want to be playing them so much. But you're gonna have to. If not, you're gonna have to be in the 9th or 10th seed. And you're gonna have to win 2 playing games.
Yeah, what really sucks about that is the defense. We're missing a lot of defensive players, especially Jared Vanderbilt. Although he has been posting some videos, it looks like he might come back. Hopefully, he just comes back for at least just the last few games of the season. I think he's an extremely important player.
Hopefully Gabe Vincent against.
That's the other one, man. Gabe Vincent too. Luckily, the Lakers. Oh, we just got Cam Reddish back, and you know we saw it. I mean, he made a huge impact just because of how important the defense is. And I feel like this season for the Lakers has been defined by injury, especially to the role players. And with 2 guys like AD and LeBron, I feel like they're not in the point in their careers, especially LeBron James. Anthony Davis is something else, but with LeBron James, I feel like he's at a point that he doesn't want to go out every single night because we saw that the past 2 seasons, and it led to nothing. And 2 seasons ago, that led to nothing in 2022, the Russell Westbrook year, and the year after, all that ended up doing was getting him hurt. And so I think he just wants to give the other guys confidence, give the other guys just get carried a little bit by the other guys, but he does pick and choose his moments, and in some moments, like we saw yesterday with the Clippers game, he will take over.
Yeah, yesterday all I showed is that a healthy LeBron, you put him in the playoffs against anybody, you have a chance, bro. You have a chance. He could be the best player on the court any given night. And AD.
And also showed how important AD is, man. He got into foul trouble the past 2 games. He's gotten into foul trouble, and we saw them go down by a lot. I mean, yeah, AD's super important.
I will say the Lakers, out of all of these teams, if they get to a playoffs, they get there healthy, they have the best chance of winning the championship out of all these teams.
Yeah.
The other team that we gotta talk about is the Kings. They're currently the AC, and then honestly, if I had to pick a team out of all of these that I believe is gonna miss the playoffs, it's gonna be them. This year, they haven't had the same magic that they had last year, and out of it, it's definitely the fact that last year they kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They surprised a lot of people, and now they have mostly the same team, but I think teams are kind of figuring them out, figuring out their flaws.
I just feel like they didn't make the upgrades that they needed to make. I think a team like that comes out of nowhere and just relies a lot on offense, I think they need to make changes around the margins, like some defense. Obviously, Davion Mitchell, for example, that's a guy that should have been traded because he's just not really playing like that. He's not really fitting into the team. He's not really what they need, and I think they should have maybe gone in and tried to trade for Pascal Siakam. I know that he didn't want to get traded, but I think it was more for contractual reasons, not necessarily anything else. I think a move like that would have been really, really impactful because they need something like that. They didn't make any moves in the trade deadline, and I mean we're seeing it. They're really not that good of a team. The magic, like you said, the magic that they had isn't there. They just look like any other team, which is
she's like a solid team, but
is what they had last year. They felt like a magical. And also last year we do gotta say this: they were one of the most, if not the most healthy team in the NBA. They did not get injured at all.
Yeah, man, and it's kind of funny to say that their biggest flaw is also one of the biggest reasons that they're winning so much in Sabonis. I don't care about them making the playoffs because I just believe they're gonna lose in the first round again. Yep. So I'm kind of thinking about give way to another team that actually has a chance because Sabonis, as one of your two best players, has so many flaws that get exposed in the playoffs. Yep. So I want them to miss the playoffs. I'm not some hating stuff because I prefer to see like the Mavericks or the Lakers or the Pelicans that are just gonna get more exciting matchups.
Yeah, and they're just gonna be better. The Sabonis thing, that's a great point. We brought it up a bunch of times, and people are always like, "Oh, why doesn't Sabonis get the love, the admiration that he needs?" Because he's averaging damn near a triple-double. He has like a double-double record. It's because in the playoffs, he's easily exposed. He is a bad playoff player. He's a bad defender, and he's a bad shooter. You can't. That as your best or second best player in the playoffs cannot work, especially if the Aaron Fox is not a super-duper star. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like why we are not, us specifically, and a lot of people are in the biggest Sabonis fans.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Next thing we gotta talk about is my second. Well, next thing we gotta talk about is my third favorite team in the NBA, in the Mavericks. And this is another team that they don't really have a ceiling. They could go all the way from losing the first round to winning the championship if they get the right matchup. Everything goes their way. And it's because of Luke and Kyrie, but Luke and Kyrie have completely figured that out. Luke is one of the top 3 players in the NBA in our opinion, and Kyrie is a top 15, 17 player in the NBA. And man, the offense, the way they're not getting exposed at all. They have some solid pieces around them, especially after the trade deadline. And they have the 18th strongest schedule moving forward. So I definitely think they're gonna make it. I think they're gonna end up on the 7th or 8th. And that's the team that I would hate the Lakers to go against because if you catch them on the right night, the players that are hitting the shots, you're cooked. Like there could be anybody. But I definitely think they're gonna make the playoffs, and they could scare a team like the Timberwolves or Thunder that don't have a lot of experience. Because even though Luka's young, he at this point, like, he has proven himself in the playoffs pretty well. And Kyrie, we all know how good he is in the playoffs.
One of the scariest teams, I think, for any team to face. I mean, with the opponent offense that they have, obviously they have some pieces like you were saying with PJ Washington. Apparently he's been playing some great defense. Got to give him a huge shout out. And they just have a lot of pieces. They have a lot of depth. And when you got a player like Luka and Kyrie, Kyrie's a champion. And Luka Doncic is a proven playoff player, a guy that cannot be stopped in the playoffs. When you put 2 players like that, 2 dynamic players like that,
the sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit. That's just the truth. Up next, we have a young team. We haven't really seen them much in the playoffs, but a team that I think can definitely make some noise, and that's the Pelicans. Just a few years ago, the Pelicans did make the playoffs, and Brandon Ingram balled out. The team played really, really well, and I think since then they've only gotten better. And Zion Williamson has never made the playoffs before.
It feels crazy.
It feels crazy, right?
Super wrong.
So I really want to see him in the playoffs.
Yeah, Zion Williamson hasn't had the best stat season, but honestly, when it comes to him, all I care about is the fact that he's healthy. All I care about is get to the playoffs healthy. At the end of the day, he's still one of the most unstoppable players in the NBA. So I really am intrigued because somebody like Giannis that goes to a paint a lot gets stopped. Is Zion gonna get stopped the same way?
He might, and we saw that in the in-season tournament.
Yeah,
that's something that we gotta mention. They played horrible in the in-season tournament, and a big reason is because Zion got stopped. And when you remove Zion from the team, they're just not the same team. Obviously, he's their best player.
Yeah, of course. A player like Ingram is easier for him to excel in the playoffs because he's a shot creator.
Yeah, and we saw that.
But
and CJ McCollum too.
They have McCollum. They have Trey Murphy. They have a lot of solid players, so they could definitely make some noise. That's a team that they're pretty much a lock. They have a pretty sizable lead on a team like the Warriors or Lakers. So they might stay around the 6th or 5th seed, especially because they have a lot of young players that are hungry. Yeah. I know Zion is hungry. No pun intended. I know Zion is hungry. No pun intended. To finally prove that was wrong. There's always some negative talk about him. So for his sake, I hope that he performs in the playoffs. Because if he goes to playoffs and he plays bad, I think all the hype The hype around him has already died, but I think it's gonna completely just be put away at that point.
Definitely.
Players that he plays bad. I think all the hype, the hype around him has already died, but I think it's gonna completely just be put away at that point.
Definitely. Up next,
The last team we gotta talk about.
probably maybe the scariest team is the Phoenix Suns.
Scariest team in the sense that I would say this is the second team that I'll trust the most to win the championship. I'm a bit biased. I put the Lakers #1, but they're right there.
I think most people probably. Put the
most
Suns.
people put the Suns. I'll put the Lakers,
Yeah, I
but
agree.
I understand why you put the Suns out of them.
Man, I think the Suns have a lot of flaws, and that's my biggest thing with that. And my biggest flaw with them is their center play, and we've talked about it in multiple videos. We're not
We
gonna
have
get
Fado
into
and
it.
Nurkic a lot, and people have gotten our case for it, but I think we have been proven right for the most part.
I think so. I think that's a player that is very tough to play with because once again, very very similar player to Sabonis. Player that is not a
Actually,
good
it's like
defender.
worse, though.
He can't shoot, and he's way worse. But with them, you do have 3 unstoppable players, especially with Kevin Durant and especially with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. He just kind of helps them out, helps alleviate the load from them. And you know they were able to make that trade for Royce O'Neal. We recently saw him ball out, and I just got to give a lot of credit to Grayson Allen, a guy who's been playing amazing this year. I think he's the best shooter in the NBA this year, and he is one of the best shooters in general.
Yeah, say whatever you want about the Suns, but they're able to make the most out of a tough situation when it comes to minimum players. They were able to make some trades,
Yeah.
and the players that they signed are having the best, but it's expected.
Yeah.
Their minimums at the end of the day. Man, Grayson Allen, one of the best shooters in the NBA. Royce O'Neal hasn't had the best year, but he's capable of having a game like he did against the Lakers.
And Eric Gordon too.
Eric Gordon, yeah, so no, that's like 3 players that they pull out of their butt.
Yeah.
Like just making some good trades. So that's a team, bro. They could be anybody. They took 2 games for the Nuggets last year. I do believe that, like I was saying, I think the flaws are gonna show up, and I think a team like the Nuggets or the Clippers are gonna end up beating them. But whatever, that's not even anything negative. Because I just mentioned the damn near 2 best West teams.
Yeah.
So that's gonna do it. Real quick before we end it off, give me who out of those, because we just mentioned 6 teams,
Yeah.
and out of those 6 teams, 2 of them are not gonna make the playoffs. Who are you picking to not make it?
That very tough question. Very tough. I've thought about this a lot. The team that I would love to not make it is the Warriors, of course, because I'm a Warrior hater. But I just can't imagine that. I think they're just gonna get lucky enough to make it. So if it's up to me, I'll say the Kings are a lock.
Yeah, I think we're both saying the Kings.
Yeah, I think
Let's
the
get
Kings
that
are a
out of the
lock.
way.
Yeah, I'm stuck between the Pelicans and some crazy stuff. The Lakers, man. I've been telling you, man.
The thing is,
can see
like,
them
I
missing
think the
it, man.
same way that you were saying that you kind of mind the Warriors missing it, I kind of mind the Lakers missing it. I
The
kind
Lakers
of
be getting unlucky as hell.
that
compared to
is
the
true,
Warriors.
but I really cannot mind
Okay.
LeBron AD. Later
I don't
on.
want to.
If they're healthy, if the Lakers are healthy, they're winning the play-in.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and you know what? I'm gonna go and say the Kings and the Warriors. I'm gonna say that the Warriors finally get what's been coming to them,
Yeah.
like coming to them from like me the hater. like they've been getting it lucky enough. Bro, you guys don't understand how happy the Warriors missing the playoffs would get me, and the Lakers making it over them. So even though it might not happen, it's so close that I'm just gonna say the team that I don't want to make it, which is the Warriors.
Yeah, I was just saying something.
This guy wanted to say Lakers, but I forced him to say the Warriors because we don't need that bad energy.
Yeah,
You gotta
thanks.
believe in our boy LeBron that he's gonna pull through, and that
And
our
won the
boy,
championship.
and that our boy Curry is gonna show. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Give us your predictions down below. Who's gonna make it? Who's gonna miss it? Then you guys let us know if you like the video too.
Thanks. Subscribe if you haven't already, and peace out.
Peace out.